English on the go, how to learn anytime, anywhere. Welcome to another episode of English 101. In today's podcast, we'll show you how to learn English on the move, whether you're commuting, walking, working out, or just relaxing. Discover powerful strategies, tools, and habits that help you make the most of your time and improve your English fluency no matter where you are. Let's dive in. Part 1. Learn anytime, anywhere. In the fast-paced world we live in, finding time to sit down with a textbook and study English can feel impossible. But what if you didn't have to sit still to make progress? What if learning English could fit into your lifestyle, no matter how busy you are? This is the power of learning on the go. The idea isn't to replace deep study sessions, but to complement them with constant exposure, interaction, and engagement throughout your day. Whether you're commuting to work, walking your dog, waiting in line, or taking a break, you can transform these moments into valuable learning opportunities. The first thing to understand is that fluency doesn't come only from intense study. It comes from consistent, meaningful contact with the language. Listening to English for even 5 or 10 minutes at a time adds up over weeks and months. The trick is to build habits that turn passive time into active learning time. One powerful tool is the podcast, like the one you're listening to now. With a good pair of headphones and your smartphone, you carry a classroom in your pocket. Podcasts allow you to hear natural conversation, rhythm, intonation, and cultural nuance. Even if you don't understand everything, your brain starts adapting, tuning into the music of the language. Another powerful method is using flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet while you're on the move. These tools use spaced repetition to help you remember vocabulary efficiently. Even reviewing 5 cards while waiting for a coffee can help solidify words in your memory. Combine this with listening, and you're reinforcing vocabulary from 2 angles, seeing and hearing. And if you connect a phrase with where you were or what you were doing at the time, your memory will lock it in even more deeply. Subtitles are your ally, too. If you're on a break and want to watch a short YouTube video or series episode in English, keep the English subtitles on. Reading while listening activates multiple parts of your brain, helping you absorb grammar and pronunciation naturally. Don't just focus on understanding every word. Focus on rhythm, phrasing, and flow. Try to mimic how native speakers move from one word to another, where they stress words, and how they link sounds. When you're walking or exercising, audio learning becomes incredibly powerful. You're relaxed, your mind is open, and you're physically moving, all of which boost focus and memory. Choose podcasts that are slightly above your level. Challenge yourself, but don't frustrate yourself. Rewind if needed. Repeat useful phrases out loud. Shadowing, the practice of repeating speech right after you hear it, is especially effective for improving pronunciation and fluency. It might feel awkward at first, but over time, it builds automaticity in your speaking. Learning on the go also involves using the language actively. Talk to yourself in English while you're doing things. Narrate your actions. Now I'm making tea. I will check my email. I should send that message. It may seem silly, but this simple technique builds fluency and confidence. You're training your brain to think in English, not just translate from your native language. The more you practice internal dialogue, the more natural speaking will feel in real conversation. Voice memos can also be your best friend. Open your phone's recording app and speak for 1 minute a day in English. Talk about what you see, what you feel, or what you plan to do. Then listen back and reflect on your pronunciation, grammar, and fluency. Over time, these daily 1-minute recordings become a mirror of your progress. They're a great way to catch mistakes and notice improvement. Social media, when used mindfully, becomes a powerful learning space. Follow English learning accounts, listen to bite-sized lessons, and save short videos that explain idioms or grammar points. But don't just consume, comment, engage, and reply. Use real English in real contexts. Even if you write 1 sentence per day in English on Instagram, Reddit, or YouTube, you're building writing fluency. Don't forget that learning happens everywhere. Put sticky notes on objects in your house with their English names. Change your phone's language to English. Set your to-do list or calendar in English. Every small exposure counts. The more you surround yourself with English, the more your brain will absorb without effort. This is called passive immersion, and it's one of the secrets of language learners who succeed quickly. The final key is mindset. Don't wait for the perfect time or place to learn. Language isn't something you cram for an exam, it's a skill you live. If you see every part of your day as a chance to interact with English, you shift from being a student to being a speaker. Fluency grows not from occasional marathons, but from daily drops. Little by little, day by day, your brain rewires itself for English. Now that we've explored how to turn your day into a classroom, it's time to look deeper into the tools and strategies that can make this process not only efficient, but enjoyable. In the next section, we'll dive into specific apps, techniques, and success stories from real learners who mastered English on the go. Part 2. The best tools and techniques for learning on the go. One of the greatest advantages of living in the digital age is the wide variety of tools available for language learners. When it comes to learning English on the go, choosing the right tools can make all the difference between passive consumption and active, effective improvement. The key is to integrate these tools into your daily routine in a way that feels natural, sustainable, and enjoyable. Let's explore some of the most powerful and practical apps, platforms, and habits that have helped thousands of learners master English wherever they are. First on the list is audio learning apps. Apps like Audible, Spotify, and even YouTube offer thousands of English audiobooks, podcasts, and talk shows. Find something you're interested in, whether it's fiction, self-development, science, or comedy, and listen to it regularly. Listening to content you genuinely enjoy keeps you engaged and helps you associate English with pleasure rather than pressure. When your brain connects a language with positive emotions, learning happens faster and lasts longer. Also, try to listen actively by predicting what's next, noting down new vocabulary, or summarizing what you hear in your own words. For visual learners, video content can be just as powerful. Use platforms like YouTube, TED, or Netflix with English subtitles. Watch videos on topics that fascinate you, and don't worry if you miss some words. Focus on understanding the overall meaning. One effective strategy is to watch short clips twice. The first time with subtitles and the second time without. Then pause and repeat interesting phrases out loud. This not only helps with comprehension but also improves your pronunciation and memory. You can even take screenshots of subtitles and review them later with apps like Google Keep or Notion. Spaced repetition apps such as Anki and Memrise are also game changers. These tools help you remember vocabulary more effectively by showing you words just before you're about to forget them. Create a deck with phrases you hear during your daily listening or reading. Add context, example sentences, or even audio clips. Then review your cards daily, during your commute, before bed, or while waiting in line. This technique takes advantage of how memory works and ensures that words move from short-term to long-term memory. Voice-based tools are especially important when learning on the go. One underrated app is your phone's voice recorder. Practice speaking for 1 or 2 minutes about your day, your plans, or your thoughts in English. Then, listen to yourself. Identify mistakes, and try again. Another helpful tool is Google's voice typing or speech recognition features in apps like Grammarly or Microsoft Word. You can test your pronunciation and get real-time feedback as you speak. These tools simulate real-life communication and are especially useful when you don't have someone to practice with. Another smart habit is to use your environment as a language lab. Change your phone, laptop, and favorite apps to English. This simple step exposes you to new vocabulary and trains your brain to think in English. You'll learn the words for settings, tools, buttons, and notifications. Vocabulary that's useful and often ignored in traditional classrooms. Label objects in your home with sticky notes. Read menus, signs, or instructions in English whenever possible. Even small exposures add up when they happen every day. One of the most powerful habits is daily micro-practice. This means setting aside short, regular periods, even 3 to 5 minutes, to focus on one skill. For example, you could listen to a short news story from Voice of America, repeat one motivational quote aloud, write one journal entry, or review one page from your phrasebook. These micro-sessions are less intimidating than long study blocks and easier to fit into your day. They also build momentum and give you the psychological reward of consistency. Gamified learning apps like Duolingo, Drops, and LingQ can also make on-the-go learning fun. While they shouldn't replace deep practice, they're great for reviewing basics and maintaining daily contact with English. Their bite-sized lessons and visual elements are perfect for quick learning bursts between activities. Plus, the satisfaction of completing levels and earning badges can keep you motivated on days when you're tired or distracted. Let's not forget about English learners' communities. Joining Telegram groups, Reddit threads like R English Learning, or language exchange platforms like HelloTalk and Tandem allows you to use English socially. These communities are filled with learners and native speakers willing to chat, correct, and support each other. You can ask questions, share your experiences, or simply read conversations to absorb natural language use. Some even offer voice chat rooms for casual practice. Using RSS readers and email newsletters is another clever strategy. Subscribe to simple English newsletters like The English We Speak by BBC Learning English or English Grammar Tips. These newsletters send short, manageable lessons to your inbox. Perfect for reading during your morning routine or lunch break. RSS readers like Feedly help you collect blog posts and articles from your favorite English websites, letting you learn from real-world content curated to your taste. If you're a social media user, turn your scrolling time into learning time. Follow pages, influencers, and channels that post bite-sized English tips, vocabulary visuals, or daily quizzes. Comment on posts in English. Save useful ones. And engage with others. Apps like Instagram and TikTok may seem like distractions, but they can become productive learning spaces with the right content. Just be mindful to avoid falling into endless entertainment. Set a goal, like learn 3 new phrases before closing the app. One often overlooked tool is your calendar or task manager. Writing your plans, reminders, or goals in English forces you to think in the language. Instead of writing buy groceries in your native language, write pick up some groceries at 5 p.m. Over time, this simple habit helps your brain build English sentence patterns effortlessly. It also keeps you thinking about English throughout your day, which is key for developing fluency. As you continue integrating these tools, remember that success comes from intention, not intensity. Don't feel pressured to use every app or method. Instead, find the tools that match your lifestyle, interests, and energy levels. Build a small, consistent system of learning habits that follow you wherever you go. This personal ecosystem of learning, audio, visual, social, active, creates immersion without stress. And it's this constant low-pressure exposure that turns learners into fluent speakers. In the next part of this podcast, we'll explore inspiring stories of real learners who used these tools to transform their English, without classrooms, without stress, and without stopping their busy lives. Stay tuned as we dive into how ordinary people became extraordinary English communicators. Part 3: Real Stories, Real Progress. How learners mastered English on the go. Every language learner has a unique journey, shaped by their environment, motivation, and daily life. Yet despite different backgrounds, those who successfully improve their English often have one thing in common: consistency. In this section, we'll dive into real-life stories of learners who made incredible progress by integrating English into their daily routines. Not by locking themselves in a classroom, but by using their free time, technology, and smart habits to learn on the go. Take the story of Aisha, a university student from Morocco who wanted to improve her English speaking for future job interviews. Living in a busy city with limited time, she turned her 40-minute bus ride to class into a mobile classroom. Every day, she listened to a different episode of a business English podcast, repeating useful phrases aloud during quiet moments. After 3 months, she noticed that her vocabulary had grown, her pronunciation had improved, and her confidence soared. She even started recording herself summarizing each episode to practice speaking. Then there's Daniel, a warehouse worker from Brazil, who had only studied English in school and never felt confident speaking. He downloaded a spaced repetition app and created a custom deck with phrases he encountered while watching Netflix shows in English. During his breaks, he would review the deck and quietly repeat sentences to himself. On his way home, he'd use a voice memo app to speak about his day in English. He never had time for formal lessons. But after 6 months, his co-workers were shocked at how fluently he could hold a casual conversation. Maria, a stay-at-home mom in Poland, used Instagram and Telegram groups to learn English while doing house chores. She followed pages that shared one useful phrase each day, saving them in a digital notebook. She would play English audio stories while cooking or cleaning, pausing occasionally to repeat expressions. She also joined a voice chat group where learners discussed simple daily topics. Although she never left home for lessons, her vocabulary, listening, and speaking all improved dramatically over a year. Another inspiring example is Yuki, a software developer in Japan. He was already reading English documentation for work, but struggled with listening and speaking. Instead of commuting with silence, he listened to TED Talks in English and used an app that showed transcripts in real time. He'd mark new vocabulary and add them to his flashcard system. Later, while jogging, he'd replay the same talks and shadow the speakers, mimicking their pronunciation and rhythm. Within 5 months, he noticed that he could understand native conversations much faster and started joining English discussion forums online. Stories like these show that progress doesn't depend on your job, location, or background. It depends on how cleverly you fit English into your life. Even 5-minute chunks, when repeated daily, build strong foundations. The learners who succeed don't wait for perfect conditions. They use the present moment, however small, to take one more step forward. This progress over perfection mindset is what separates frustrated learners from fluent speakers. But these learners didn't just rely on motivation, they built systems. Aisha always preloaded her podcast episodes before leaving home. Daniel had reminders to review flashcards at lunch. Maria scheduled 10-minute voice chats while her baby napped. Yuki had a routine of jogging with English input every morning. These small systems created rhythm and predictability, turning language learning into a natural part of daily life. One common challenge they all faced was mental resistance. That voice in the head saying, "You don't have time," or "You're not improving." To overcome this, they tracked their growth. Aisha kept a speaking journal. Daniel measured how many new words he could recall each week. Maria noticed how quickly she understood children's stories compared to before. Yuki kept logs of his shadowing sessions and reviewed his old recordings monthly. This practice of documenting progress made their efforts visible and boosted their motivation during difficult days. Another shared element was emotion. They didn't just learn words, they connected with stories, characters, speakers, and ideas in English. They felt inspired by motivational podcasts, laughed during English comedy clips, and felt pride when they understood a fast dialogue for the first time. Emotional engagement helped turn passive listening into meaningful learning. When English became a source of joy, their consistency became effortless. Some learners even used unexpected methods. One traveler from Turkey set his car's GPS to English and learned navigation vocabulary without trying. A baker in India kept English recipe videos playing in the background. A taxi driver in Cairo played English radio and tried translating headlines aloud. A nurse in Mexico labeled hospital tools in English and whispered diagnoses in English while writing them in Spanish. These micro habits may seem small, but multiplied over time, they produce massive results. Even more importantly, these learners forgave themselves for missing days. They didn't quit when they missed a session or forgot a word. They adjusted and kept going. This resilience made them unstoppable. They understood that fluency is not about perfection, but about not giving up. Perhaps the most powerful lesson from all these stories is that you are your best teacher. The apps, podcasts, flashcards, and voice notes are just tools. What matters most is how you use them, how often you show up, and how creatively you adapt them to your life. No one else can do this work for you, but no one else can stop you either. As you reflect on these stories, ask yourself, what moments of the day are you currently wasting that could become learning time? What tools do you already use that could be switched to English? What tiny rituals could you build that lead to big results? In the final section of this podcast, we'll look at how to design your own mobile learning routine, one that fits your goals, matches your lifestyle, and helps you reach fluency without pressure or burnout. Whether you're on a train, at home, or waiting in line, English can be right there with you, transforming your moments into milestones. Part 4. Your personalized plan. Building an English routine that travels with you. Learning English on the go is not about rushing through random materials. It's about designing a smart, sustainable system that fits your life. In this final section, let's create that system, a flexible routine that works whether you're commuting, cooking, or taking a walk. No matter where you are or how busy your schedule, English can walk with you, grow with you, and become a natural part of your world. Begin by identifying your daily pockets of time. These are the small moments you spend waiting, walking, commuting, eating, or doing chores. Don't underestimate their value. 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there, when repeated daily, can add up to hundreds of hours each year. Write down these moments, your morning routine, your lunch break, your evening walk, and even time before bed. These are your golden zones for learning. Next, assign a learning activity to each zone. For example, while brushing your teeth or getting dressed, you might listen to a short English phrase lesson. During your commute, try a podcast episode focused on real conversations. At lunch, review flashcards or speak about your morning in English using a voice recorder. While cooking, play English YouTube videos with subtitles. As you unwind before bed, read a short article or listen to calming English stories. Now, create micro goals. These are small, achievable targets that give structure and momentum. Instead of saying, "I will improve my English," say, "I will learn 3 new phrases each morning," or "I will listen to 10 minutes of English while walking." Micro goals reduce pressure and allow you to measure success daily. Over time, they build a powerful habit chain. Use technology to automate your routine. Download podcasts in advance so you're never without content. Use a flashcard app like Anki or Quizlet to review vocabulary during breaks. Set alarms or calendar reminders for your English time. If you use a smart speaker, ask it to play the English news or a motivational clip when you wake up. The more automatic your system becomes, the less energy you'll need to maintain it. One of the most effective tools is a voice diary. Each day, record a short message in English about your thoughts, feelings, or activities. Don't worry about grammar, just speak. Over time, you'll hear your progress. You'll gain fluency, confidence, and the ability to express ideas naturally. It's also a powerful way to notice and fix pronunciation mistakes. Join a social circle, even if it's virtual. Find Telegram or Discord groups where learners speak English daily. You don't need long conversations. Even a few voice messages a day can transform your listening and speaking. The key is consistency, not perfection. By engaging with others, you'll also gain motivation, support, and exposure to different accents and expressions. Customize your input based on your interests. If you love cooking, follow English recipe channels. If you enjoy sports, subscribe to English sports news. If you're into psychology, find a podcast that discusses the topic in English. When you learn through content you love, you forget that you're studying. You simply enjoy. And in the process, your brain absorbs language naturally. Track your progress weekly. This can be as simple as checking how many days you practiced or how many new words you learned. Review old voice recordings to hear your improvement. Celebrate even small wins. Progress fuels motivation. When you notice your growth, you feel excited to keep going. Embrace repetition. Learning doesn't happen by hearing something once. Repetition is the bridge between short-term memory and long-term fluency. Re-listen to your favorite episodes. Reread your favorite articles. Shadow the same sentences multiple times. Each round deepens your understanding and confidence. Build an environment where English is everywhere. Change your phone's language to English. Set your browser homepage to an English news site. Use English playlists. Label things in your house. Think in English while walking or waiting in line. These environmental cues keep the language alive and help your brain adapt faster. Be kind to yourself. Some days you'll miss your routine. Some days you'll feel tired or bored. That's normal. What matters is getting back on track. The journey to fluency isn't about never falling. It's about never quitting. If you miss a day, forgive yourself and start fresh the next morning. Remember that every learner's path is different. What works for one person might not work for another. Experiment. Try new tools. Adjust your schedule. Your mobile learning routine should fit your lifestyle, not the other way around. Stay flexible and curious. Learning should never feel like punishment. It should feel like discovering a new part of the world, a new part of yourself. As you move forward, imagine English as your travel companion. It's there when you wake up, when you walk, when you work, and when you rest. It's not a separate subject. It's a part of your identity. With each podcast you hear, each sentence you speak, each new word you learn, you're building a skill that opens doors, builds bridges, and changes lives. Now it's your turn. Start simple. Choose one habit today, 5 minutes of English while walking, just one. Then do it again tomorrow, and the day after that. Keep going. Let time and consistency do their quiet, powerful work. Before you know it, you'll look back and realize you didn't just learn English, you became someone who lives in English. Congratulations! You've just completed an immersive podcast on how to learn English anytime, anywhere. If this episode inspired you, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a fellow learner, and start your own on-the-go English habit today. Remember, consistency beats intensity, and your journey to fluency begins with one simple step. Stay tuned for our next episode. And until then, keep learning, keep listening, and keep growing.